need to get the information. Gal said Chihuahua. Gal said Chihuahua. Does that
Waluigi.
Girl said Chihuahua.
Hello, and welcome to the Musically Challenged podcast. Sam is really not feeling it right now.
I'm quite tired.
Mike?
Yeah, I'm also tired, but I am feeling it, because this episode is...
I'm really feeling it.
I'm really feeling it.
feeling it!
Exactly. This episode
This
covering
episode
some of my favourite musical content.
This episode is brought to you by me delusionally spouting memes for the next hour, because, to be honest, I don't really have that much to say.
No, to be honest, there's probably not much to add on top of what Mike and I say.
Yeah.
I think
not much
you can add on top of what Mike's going to say.
Yeah, it's true.
This is Mike's episode.
Yeah, boy.
Firstly, though, Mike,
yes?
what have you been listening to?
Oh, okay, so...
Yeah, that one.
I was going to explain quickly. We missed last week because you two bonobos were having a good time on a ski trip and I was missed out and
We're having a great time.
I didn't get to do any skiing. So I was in fact home for the whole week and I did listen to some things.
You did.
So most of all, I've been really enjoying the latest singles from Father John Misty's upcoming album.
Yeah? When's that coming out? Is that like...
So I'm not sure on
Next
the
couple
exact
months.
date. Yeah, it's within the next couple months. I feel like he dropped his singles a tiny bit earlier than his release date because of the whole Trump inauguration thing, which is...
I know that he's quite politically active and outspoken.
Yeah, he is. And his previous albums were like Father John Misty is sort of quite a folky voice, and like a lot of his albums are dependent on his lyrics and his positive message and such.
Yeah.
Which before they've been really good, but they've like failed to like grasp my attention a little bit.
Yeah.
But this one here, with the singles he's put forward, really has. So the very first single he put forward, which is the album's whole name as well, it's the title track, is Pure Comedy. And that was the first one he put forward on the day of Trump's inauguration, I think, or a few days after or something. And it featured footage from Trump's inauguration. And it's like really sort of spiteful and like...
Of course.
Fair enough.
You know, things like that. But it's really well done. It really hits you. Well. Yeah, exactly. So, like, and his continued singles, like, I continue to just check them out of curiosity, and they sort of made me feel like this album's going to be a good one to drop in 2017.
Whet your whistle.
They did. They whetted my whistle. So, yeah, check out all of those singles. I think there's been 3 so far.
Check them out.
Check them out. Yep. Besides that, another single for an upcoming album, which has my interest because my dad's a big fan. Jamiroquai.
JK and Co.
Yeah, JK and Co. The acid jazz lot who do musics. They've been on a bit of a hiatus, I think, or it's been a few years since the last release, like 5 to 7. I can't remember.
Okay.
But this time they've come back with a single called Automaton, Finite Automaton. Which is quite enjoyable.
Good, I liked it.
Yeah,
it's chill.
It's chill as usual with Jamiroquai music, and it's got a sort of a tiny bit of experimentation, which it keeps it.
Ooh,
we
like that.
Jamiroquai are not always pushing their boundaries too much
in terms of their sound.
Their sound is always very much the same, and this song has the elements of their sound for like a chunk in the like middle, like 30 seconds or something. And like I saw in the comments, people are like, "Oh, this is the true Jamiroquai bit." Like song starts here, song ends here. And it's well, there's other stuff going around.
Well, it's good to know they're pushing boundaries a little bit.
Yeah,
and even if they're not, if they can write a good song, then
exactly. So like I was quite subtly enjoying that sort of this week, because like I might check this album out.
All right, that's cool.
But I mostly clicked on the link because it said Jamiroquai Automaton. I was like, this is too good of a meme for me to miss, based on our last computer science modules.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been listening to. Those 2 singles get me hyped for some albums in 2017.
Sure, that's good.
About a month late. Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. Anyway, what about you two? I suppose.
So, I guess I haven't been listening to too much new stuff, but I did put together a dank skiing playlist before I went off.
Yes, you showed me.
And I was listening to
that
that
I told you to
a
put
lot.
Ski Sunday on it. which
And
you didn't do.
I didn't. No,
That would have been too
that would
good.
have been too good.
I would have really enjoyed to be skiing with you.
It was full of a lot of kind of like serene ambient stuff. Like there was some Cigarosa on there, some Mogwai.
Yeah, but you also put some Death Grips on there.
Yeah, because you need some of that when you're going. Gotta go fast, you know. You need to be
knock everyone off the fucking the flipping slopes.
There was one part where I was the only one on a
You told me
slope that was fairly steep, and Bubbles Buried in This Jungle came on because there was no one in like within 50 meters of me. I just fucking shouted all the lyrics at full volume as I went down the slope. It was fucking amazing. Bonobo confirmed, I think.
There was no avalanche to like block out your
kill me.
sound. Yeah.
No.
There was only one time I think where I like sang on the trip, and it was like I was on like a button lift, and I was just like I was just bored, so I was like I got past like it was like a bit shaky at the start, so I decided to sing "Smooth Sailing" by
Queens of the Stone Age.
Queens of
Nice.
Stone Age.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Good
the
choice.
people behind me who are friends of mine were singing hymns.
Hymns.
Yeah.
Wow.
To be honest, I did request. I was like, sing some One More Step Along the Road I Go. 'Cause that's an absolute banger. It's in year 3 bangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. What a throwback.
Good times. Probably.
It's so good.
I listened to one new album though.
What that?
One new album in full is by this guy called William Basinski. He's from New York, and he does a lot of weird kind of drony, layered experimental stuff with like weird like field recordings and I think what's called tape music. I really don't know the technicalities of it, but
They use tape.
I'm guessing
record
there's
music.
some tape and actual looping of physical actual like cassette tape and whatnot.
Yes.
It's some very, very calming and engaging drone, despite its length.
Well,
The album's called A Shadow in Time.
Whoa.
It's got a track which is a tribute to David Bowie on it.
okay.
And so, yeah, I definitely recommend that one.
Fair play.
And I think at one of the pre's we had, Jay put on the first track from Frank Ocean's album from
Nice.
Yes, I remember
from
you
last
saying.
year, Blonde, and
That's one that slipped through our net a little
yeah.
bit.
it definitely was, and my it was just
Julian had a bit of a moment. And I've heard it before,
Yeah.
and I really like it. I hadn't listened to the rest of the album, which we stuck on after that,
Oh, fair play.
which was
I need
nice.
to listen to
But
it.
yeah, like
I was
the first track
awestruck.
is top notch.
It is. It's really very, very good.
Julian had a little bit of a moment.
And a
Very emotional.
special moment. Yeah.
I don't have many,
Not-
and
not
very
as-
few people make me have those
And
moments.
then
But
he ate another one of the flipping dry muffins got from the shop.
when those muffins were fresh, they were pretty damn
they
good.
were muffins.
When the muff too deep.
I was gonna say like these muffs, and then I was like,
These muffs.
that doesn't sound
That
good.
kind of ski trip, huh?
These muffins.
These nuts. These muffs.
Oh, got him.
Gordy,
Wow.
hey.
Can you tell that we're quite tired? I can.
Little bit
Yeah.
tired.
A little bit tired. So, should we...
Excuse me.
Oh, sorry.
I wasn't asked
I assume.
what I
Okay.
listened to this week, which is rude.
Oh, that's
Right.
true, okay. So should Sam...
So
Fills in.
I've been mostly listening to well, just because we've been on a trip, you know, I wasn't
Yep.
really like, and most of the time when I'd be listening to music was on a very boring coach journey.
Ooh.
A horrible
I've 20 hours both ways. So
At
I
least
was
20 hours.
so I was
Pretty...
so I was listening to mostly just the huge, but I was also listening to a rapper who I discovered in Revision Week when I was
Yes.
called Little Sims because I was listening to a jazz rap playlist on Spotify
jazz rap.
because I need some like chill stuff I can just like work to and like one of her songs like really stuck out to me. I was like, oh, she's like really good.
Yeah.
And turned out she has a new album out this year called Stillness in Wonderland, which is like a really nice mix of like sort of kind of grime, but then also like jazz rap, and sort of the instrumentals are really cool. You got like your generic like jazzy sort of saxophones and horns and stuff, but then you've also got some like guitars in there as well, and
Nice.
It's a good fun listen, and it's like she's got a really like aggressive voice.
She does actually.
I showed like Julian a song, he really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then
I need to check her out.
I was also listening to some Tim Minchin because
Love Tim.
because you got to have some, like, I don't know, I always find on like long journeys comedy music makes like time go quicker. Exactly. Yeah. Was a bit of Pink Season that was played, but no.
Did you do any Flight of the Conchords as well?
Yeah, Flight
You
of
went
the
on
Conchords.
the full trifecta.
Flight of the Conchords was on there, and obviously, like, I've got like 3 Tim Minchin albums, so I was just like listening to Tim Minchin stand-up routines, which are just fantastic. Sort of, you know, anyone who's listened to Tim Minchin will know he's
a great guy.
beautiful Aussie man who likes to sing about Jesus. Usually not very much in a positive
No,
light,
I was gonna say.
you know.
Hey.
But yeah, that was pretty much me this week.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Oh, and a bit of Danny Brown, which I'm slowly
You're getting into.
getting to like the rap.
It's working.
I
working.
knew it was gonna happen, but you know, there are still some songs which are just like. They're just still a bit squeaky.
Right, so a bit too rambly
Like,
for
so
me.
it feels like they're even worse than like White Lines. Like White Lines is sort of at the moment for me like a 7 out of 10.
His
like,
meme
alright,
status
but
elevated
it's
a
just
little
like,
bit.
but it's just like so squeaky. But yeah, I think I'm getting used to it, which is good because I really did like the instrumentals on that album.
Yeah.
That's fair to say.
I did want to actually like enjoy it. And
Yeah.
I feel like I am enjoying it now.
Good.
I
So
do
that's
also want to
good.
enjoy it. I don't know if it'll
You're
ever
not
happen.
quite there yet.
I don't. We'll see how it develops.
Okay.
But yeah.
Speaking of albums that we did not, or I did not enjoy, but then did enjoy and was very happy that I did enjoy.
Yep.
Shall we talk about Kid A?
That sounds like the Kid A song to me. So
We're finally doing it.
Yeah, so this album is
Maybe a
pretty
little
important
too early.
to me personally, and well, I suppose music in general as well a little bit. I think that's fair to say.
But fuck music, this is about Mike.
Exactly. That's my point. So my main point is fuck music. This album is just really,
This is
really
for you.
important. Yeah. So basically, we've done the Radiohead story from Pablo Honey to OK Computer in a
Yes.
previous episode.
He's got his phone out.
That's a shout out.
Everyone, he's
I haven't got
Here we
any
go,
notes.
Shakespearean
He's got-
tragedy
he's
incoming,
got
boys.
notes.
I haven't got many of those.
I'm not
I didn't get
gonna
time.
talk. I'm just gonna sit
No,
back and let you go, dude.
You can
I'll
throw
finish this
throw compliments
I'll
in.
finish this beverage.
So anyway, yeah, like I was saying, so we did the story Pablo Honey to OK Computer before
Yeah.
on previous
Shakespearean
episode.
tragedy.
That wasn't in that episode, Sam.
No, but,
But-
you know, the story up till
Yeah.
now has been very Shakespearean and very tragedy-esque.
Tragic?
Yes.
Tragedy-esque.
Okay.
What are you talking about? Anyway.
No, dude.
So yeah, so like I said, for me personally, fuck music. I don't give a fuck about Shakespeare, but it is a real tragedy. Sort of listened to a lot of Pink Floyd when I first started like becoming an album person, if you know what I mean.
Good
So like
Just like me.
there was just generally a lot of music I didn't care so much about, and then I didn't get much that like really stuck out to me
Yeah.
in any way. And then I listened to obviously Dark Side of the Moon, like one of the most popular albums for a lot of people, and yeah, exactly.
He's pretty beast.
And it's also
Not
pretty
bad, is
decent
it?
from what I've heard. Yeah, so
Exemplary 4 out of 10.
exactly, exactly. So yeah, so that made me very much an album person, and following that, I fell into the trap of liking Radiohead.
That's a trap.
That's a trap, exactly. So
Not prequel,
that
but it'll
was,
pass.
you know, I was enjoying the rock elements because I'd previously liked rock music as well.
So
and-
the Benz, I'm guessing. was-
exactly. So Ben's
Yeah.
an OK
Dwayne
Computer,
Johnson.
which is exactly Dwayne Johnson. Is that flipping greasy wrestler man he is. Exactly. So yeah,
These memes aren't going to stop.
They're not gonna stop.
Strap yourself in.
Strap
Sam's an
yourselves
oiled
in.
meme machine.
I am.
He's
definitely oiled.
ready to go. More oiled than Dwayne himself.
I don't know
Don't know if that's
If you
possible.
compete with that.
Never be more
Wow.
than Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Wow, this podcast already hit rock bottom. Hey, oh, that's a joke. Anyway,
This is a joke.
so yeah, so I was very much into the rock side of Radiohead, like a lot of people are, and probably like a lot of people more like it's most popular to enjoy Radiohead's rock stuff.
And OK Computer is probably
OK
still definitely their
Computer's-
rock side, and
Yeah,
again
exactly.
one of the most popular rock albums.
So a lot of
in
people
recent memory.
would have done that, and when Radiohead produced OK Computer, they were quite like literally at the height of their powers almost.
Like, where people would say like, well, what do they do from here now?
Exactly, or they could just do another OK Computer just on a different topic, like just keep applying the same formula again and again, and you'll have like lasting instant success. And like that's literally the way it was. OK Computer was one of the biggest albums in the 90s. So
Yeah, they didn't really have a reason to do anything different.
no, they didn't. They didn't have any reason other than the fact of Tom's personal experience with the OK Computer tour.
Yeah.
So this is the entire backstory for the album Kid A, which is actually very important, unlike most times when you talk about context, or I do anyway, and it's probably bullshit. This is actually very important. And there's actually a really good documentary as well. That's like a sort of fly on the wall tour one. You know, you get those for like bands sometimes.
Yeah.
It's called Meeting People is Easy, and it's really good at setting the tone for how Tom York was feeling heading into Kid A. You know, it's sort of he was very like on the brink of breakdown almost, like due to stresses from like one, like his artistic integrity versus popular appeal, and two, like all of these other things going on in his life, like he felt like he was shitting out and things like that, and
Basically, being Tom York is
Yeah.
a very difficult thing.
exactly being Tom York was a very difficult thing, and like and we discussed this a little bit on the OK Computer one, I think, when we talked about the very last track, The Tourist,
Yes.
where the whole message of that song is slow down, you're going too fast, like you're going 1,000 feet per second or something.
Chill.
So and that he got advice from
Is it Michael Stipe from R.E.M.?
Stipe, yeah, R.E.M. From Michael
Good
Stipe,
lad.
who told Tom basically to like chill, and this message basically comes through in this album, particularly on one track we'll get into later. So that's the like context basically. That's the
context.
story bit done.
So the bit you mentioned where it was
yeah.
the fact that if Radiohead had basically just done another OK Computer, they could have just had a string of you know, incredibly strong, influential rock albums. but
Exactly. They would have been like solidified for like to rest of
life,
time.
yeah, exactly.
Literally.
But they decided, no,
Yeah.
we're going to do something.
They felt restricted by the rock genre.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
example.
And like their attitude towards like the music industry and whatnot, it wasn't exactly all,
it's not
all
positive.
rosy.
I mean, they were
relationship.
like ever since Creep, they've been very
exactly.
self-destructive, and that didn't change here. So the whole attitude going into this album was the things need to change. We need artistic integrity and such.
Yeah.
And Tom's and Co's approach of this, like to actually describe the album, for example, was like an utter continental shift. It was
completely
OK
different.
Computer. Like for a fan of Radiohead to have these songs come out on this album would have been like such a like
like for someone who was in love with OK Computer,
such a like massive, I don't know, paradigm shift.
It basically
like
is,
literally just took you somewhere else.
there's almost no common kind of like sound to any of the songs between Kid A and OK Computer.
Yeah,
and
well,
there's maybe one or two.
There's common structures. There are things that come back to it.
like Radiohead.
It's still absolutely, like you can tell it's a Radiohead album, but
So yeah,
They definitely did change
to actually
that.
describe it. So OK Computer was rock based, very structured.
Yeah.
These songs on Kid A are sort of, they're less structured. They're more about the sounds, for example, and there's lots of influences from lots of genres.
electronic
like
music
electronica
is like the biggest
majorly.
main influence that you can
and then
see
there's
change.
there's jazz elements. There's
some
tiny
jazz
bit
elements.
of orchestration. There's interestingly they brought what's the instrument? The Ondes Marino.
The Ons Martineau, yeah.
Ons I can't say it.
Or
But,
Martineau? Yeah,
I don't
Martineau.
know, but so basically the band members start experimenting with different instruments, and like you know they turn up one day and be working on a track, and then suddenly they're like made to pick up this weird instrument. Like Johnny had to pick up the French electronic thing. I can't say. So yeah,
and Ed had to slowly realise
and Ed
that
had to slowly back away.
he's not going to be doing anything.
And Phil still had his drums at this point.
Slowly
He did a good job on the drums. So yeah, like I said,
slowly turned into a CR.
and the lyrics of this album became more and more like distant from things that are facts.
there's
They're sort of like tone
It's very
based.
trippy.
It's
trippy. They're like tone poems almost, sort of thing. Like, you know,
Tone poems.
no, that's a word. That's a genuine thing. You have tone poems as a thing that's like a set of sentences that are not necessarily logically linked or make sense, but they like you read it and you get across the message. Or so it's that sort of thing with Kid A.
Yeah, sure. No, like the lyrics on this album and the sound of some of the songs strike me as very kind of like centered around like isolation and
So
shutting
again,
everything
this
else
comes
out.
down to the advice that he's
That Michael
gotten
Stipe
from
gave,
Michael Stipe, which forms like the message of the core of the album, which is the fourth track, How to Disappear Completely. And what his advice was to Tom was like, when you're on stage or anything, just like don't be yourself, like just phase everything out. And this is one of the reasons why this album's really struck me and was very important for me, and why I like really like fell in love with Radiohead.
Lonely little boy.
No, it's not that. Well, it is that, but it's more like you start this album to talk about the first track.
Everything in its right place. What an opener!
Yeah, I know. Yeah. As soon as you start that first track, you just get hit with like I don't know what they are, like electronic chords or something.
Yeah,
it's a wave
very
of synths that just take you away.
It's
like,
just such a like. It's just that first like chord. The
first 4 notes are incredible.
I know.
It just like hits you. It's such like the tone of the album and the feel and the vibe of the album. Just from those first 4 notes, it just like instantly you're just like,
and you're drawn in.
This is gonna be weird.
And the album
is be trippy.
Yeah, the album itself, the actual album cover itself, is very good because like the whole album is like a soundscape. Like you go through it. Like I said, there's not super structure like there was in OK Computer. Like they could have stuck to a structure, but Tom like rejected it. He couldn't. He's like emotionally couldn't stand doing another one of those. And
you just look at the album cover, and I feel like it perfectly sums up like the sound and the feeling going into it. Like because this was released in 2000.
Yes. Yeah.
So of course you're gonna be having stuff like technology taking over the digital age and everything. Like you've got all
a lot of the concerns were climate change.
That too. For example, you have all these like snow-peaked mountains. But
sort of a red sky.
The background seems very ominous, and then you've got these weird kind of almost
electronic
like Z fighting
glitches,
planes in the front intersecting with the mountains. It looks and feels very kind of just like
it's also
technology
like
anxiety ridden.
Yeah,
like you also said, with this album being sort of very isolated, it is sort of an isolated feel. In just like with the album cover, it's just sort of like you're just in this like mountainous area, just like all alone, no one's there.
I mean, Tom made reference to it in his most recent, daydreaming video directed by Toolton.
That's true, actually,
where he was walking about in the mountains. That's oh look, G'day.
There it is.
But like I said, this album is exactly that. It's like an isolated thing, but like you listen to it and it like genuinely pulls you in and genuinely
takes you somewhere else.
It does.
It's one of the few albums I've heard which just transports me completely.
Yeah, and I used to listen to it on the way back from my school, and like that's what made it strike such a thing with me. Like you would just put your earphones in, you get those first 4 chords of everything in its right place,
and you're gone.
And you're gone, and it's just the whole way through. You have moments where you're like speechless. There's some moments that are really depressing, like we said, How to Disappear Completely. That is a really, like personal track to Tom. He said it's his favourite thing that Radiohead have done.
It's my favourite. Oh god. You see, the problem is quick side note. The problem is with Radiohead, they've released so many good songs that
so many different ways.
In so many different ways.
Yeah.
Like I have maybe like 10 or 11 Radiohead tracks which are like completely god tier.
Yeah.
How to Disappear Completely is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can put it.
It's the same with albums, to be honest.
Yeah,
I agree.
Release like so many different albums, which are all of them amazing in their own way, and but they're so completely different that you can't really say one's better than the other. You
can't.
But Kid A is better than OK Computer.
Yeah, exactly. It's what.
My opinion, but. That's only my opinion.
Yeah.
I didn't think that at some point. I genuinely different weeks of the year I would say, this album's better than this one. I just prefer different things.
You've just got to be in like different moods. Like Kid A, there's definitely a very Kid A mood, and it's sort of very sort of I don't know,
lonely,
depressed, lonely, sad.
For me personally,
wet.
It is a cold album and things like this.
Whereas, when you're feeling a little bit more upbeat, you listen to it in Rainbows.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I listen to Rainbows in pretty much every mood.
Yeah.
Same. But
Yeah.
And if you're real happy,
So
listen to No Surprises.
Sam, such a mean kid.
I am a mean
Do it,
kiddo.
do it, kid.
So, while everything is right place, the first track, hit me as like the first time I listened to this, I was kind of in the same situation as you, like listening to it on the way to and on the way back from school and everything, and it was like one of my first experiences outside of Pink Floyd or whatever you said that really turned me on to album music. As much as I think the title track is a little underappreciated, the second track, because
I really love Kid A.
Not only. I kind of understand when people say, oh, it's just a load of electronic bleeps and bloops and you can't really understand what Tom is saying and everything, and the instrumentation's not as massively fleshed out. But I think that is like the point of it. Because the album feels so isolated and lonely, you've got a very kind of narrow range of frequencies and textures.
I mean, my brother, whenever I've played this before in my house, my brother's been like, what are you listening to, like weird Muslim music? Like, he literally said that to me at some point, because the first 4 tracks, it's very hard to decipher what Tom York is singing. And it goes all the way up to How to Disappear Completely, when his voice is clear and like really, it comes through as really powerful then.
Yeah.
And from the rest of the album, it's as normal, I suppose, but,
more or less, yeah.
More or less. I mean, he plays around with a bit in Idiotech and things like this. But, the first few tracks, like, this is what I'm saying, this is how much of a, like, shift it has been since OK Computer. Like, his powerhouse vocals are so, like, remixed and cut up and interspliced and, like, just, you can't make them out so much, especially on Kid A as well, the track.
I mean, there's in the first half, I'd say, the only real proper kind of clear rock influence you can see on any of the songs is probably on the third track. The national anthem
with the
actual like bass line and the
which
drums.
Tom wrote when he was 14, I think, or 16.
Bloody good bass line.
Yeah, I know.
It's one of my favourite bass lines.
It like comes piercing through all
shout
of this,
out to Colin for that one.
Yeah.
It's like that's the next thing that picks you up and throws you along.
That song in general, just like with the as it ends and just like the horns just go bloody mental.
So the jazz influence comes in here.
I sense a lot of King Crimson in that track actually. 21st Century Schizoid Man's one.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean actually.
With the horns, it's maybe not as crazy as that track.
So that track's really good. It's like it's utter chaos happening.
It is chaos.
It's like you can look at the cover and imagine that the apocalypse or like that you see on the cover is happening in this track. There's loads and loads of theories because the lyrics are so.
Oh yeah, the lyrics was like everyone around here, everyone is so near, so in love, and everything like that. It sounds like he's just all this kind of social interaction, everything's completely like alien to him.
Faded out, it's gone. And like before, the track before that, Kid A is really weird with like heads on sticks and ventriloquists, staring at the shadows at the end of his bed.
It's a very striking album. Like there's all the sounds in it and all the sort of lyrics in it, all the images it puts in your head.
It's perfect for the turn of the millennia.
Yeah, absolutely.
So weird and out there, and just like, I mean, it's just like it was the perfect follow up to OK Computer.
Yeah,
just like,
and like
when they go like, let's make a weird album.
Yeah,
and it's not just weird in the fact that it's like we've used electronics. It's weird in the fact that all the subject material is completely out there.
Yeah, it is
like crazy, and instantly you get like. With every track, all the imagery that they put in your head, with like, you get like dinosaurs walk in the air.
Yeah, dinosaurs roam in the air.
You get heads on sticks, waking up, eating lemons.
Sucking lemons,
it's just
two
like,
colours in your head.
It's just like, what is going on in your crazy mind, Tom?
I know, it's insane. But the way he did his lyrics...
That boy needs therapy.
I know, exactly. Psychosomatic. The way he did the lyrics, actually, I know, is he had pieces of paper with a few phrases, which were cut up and effectively put into a hat.
Oh, I was going to say,
I mean, you could say that's maybe lazy songwriting.
No, I think.
But it serves its purpose really well here. Like the jump.
I wouldn't. And now that you tell me that,
I wouldn't have it any other way.
I wouldn't have guessed that the lyrics on this album were like jumbled up in that.
Well, they're not so jumbled up. Like you can imagine, like he's,
I guess
the approach to songwriting is the exact like. I don't know, antithesis of what OK Computer was. Like, he's completely against what he had there, which was he had song structure. Here it's more like, this song's gonna encapsulate these things, and like, oh, I'm gonna like write these phrases, and let's just see
okay. So he wrote them like
arrange
per
them.
song and then put them in a hat.
Yeah,
Not just like
yeah.
across the entire album.
Well, there are themes as well. That follow
there are
various
common
songs.
themes,
In
yeah,
fact, there's
definitely.
the dinosaurs roaming the earth comes back in a track on Hail to the Thief, where I end and you begin. He has the same phrase. So
Yeah.
tracks written around similar times end up with sort of similar motifs. But
Sure.
you know, this is the way that Tom does the writing. But like, yeah, it's just the album itself as a statement following OK Computer is such a shift. But genuinely, I felt like it was really natural for Radiohead to do it.
It felt like they were kind of, like you say, rejecting outright what the whole success and the whole point of OK Computer was.
Yeah.
It sounded like, oh, we've done that once. If we do that again,
Well, there's a poignant
then
moment in the documentary where Tom's saying that. He said, oh, so far we've got by on our ego and like our sheer guts.
Yeah.
And he says we can't do that anymore. And that's pretty much
that's
the
his
end of the
artistic
documentary.
integrity speaking.
Yeah. And this whole album, it's very much like a rediscovering, like, I don't know, like the way that they approached it, I think, was they tried to rediscover like a childhood wonder or like a new sort of fresh approach to playing instruments.
Right.
So it's like, oh, Johnny, you're going to be playing this now. Like, oh, they turn up in the studio one day and have to learn something.
Yeah.
And then they'd play it from there, and that was the sort of approach. I mean, that very much fits into the title, Kid A. There's been lots of theories
like,
about what that means. I mean,
they're like kids
People
picking
have-
up new instruments and they're starting
Exactly.
the letter A.
a
or
lot of
something.
people have thought it.
Back to square
Kid
one.
A refers to the very first human clone. There's weird theories about that.
Okay.
God knows. Because
Sure.
I mean, the tracks do seem like the two colours in your head. I think is a reference to how children develop sight or something. And then the
Okay.
following track, Kid A itself, does sound very like childish and nursery based, and like being in your room when you're very young and being scared of the shadows in your bed.
And
then you get
the last line of Kid A is it's something like just come on kids, isn't it?
Yeah,
As if someone's just
it's
teaching
like
the kids how
almost
to.
like a Pied Piper, like
Almost,
bringing the
yeah,
kids
yeah.
along. That's what I imagine. But yeah, like, and it develops. Then it goes into the national anthem, which really throws you like just into a chaotic world, and then at the end of that, you go straight into
The
how to
very,
disappear.
very, very low. of
Yeah,
that is completely.
it's very low. It's one of the lowest lows that I've been
I've
hit
ever
by an
heard in my
album.
life.
Yeah, I know, and it's come out of nowhere on this album. That's just propelled you. As
The
such
start of this
momentum.
album just throws you about. Like,
It
So
does.
the amount of emotions.
Like I said, it literally is like a soundscape, and you're just like thrown into seeing this, and then you're onto this next, and it really does throw you around.
Yeah, it's like you get hit with just everything in its right place. You get this really like dark, ominous vibe, and then like you get Kid A, which is very sort of weird and trippy and sort of
Yeah,
ambiguous and
Shout out
difficult
to
to.
hallucinogenic, and then
Phil's drumming on those tracks.
Yeah.
Yes.
On Kid
Kid
A,
A
the track,
especially.
he makes that
Yeah,
track,
and then
like,
sort-
in a way.
yeah, and then like the national anthem is more sort of upbeat.
Yeah,
Sort
well,
of-
the bass brings you in,
yeah,
and then it just goes
exciting,
into
and
chaos
then-
with all the trumpets and things coming back on.
Absolutely mental, and then you
And so,
get,
yeah,
like,
now-
lo-fi track.
It is, yeah.
Now,
We get to
Low-
talk about.
we get to talk about
Finally, the moment's come. We get to talk about the Tree Fingers effect.
so track 5, Tree Fingers.
I'll
Yes.
take that first one.
So it's effectively a kind of 4-minute ambient drone interlude track.
Yes. Sort of very much inspired by Aphex Twin, I believe.
I
and
could
The Light.
definitely hear Spefixton. I could hear all sorts of weird, like 90s ambient electronic, probably
Yeah.
Boards of Canada.
Boards
in
of
there- in
Canada,
there as well.
exactly.
So my thoughts about this track at first were quite mixed because
I can imagine. most people are.
at first, when I wasn't open-minded enough towards this kind of music,
Yeah.
I kind of saw it as a bit of a cop-out and a bit lazy.
Yeah.
But this was when I was kind of naive and I wasn't completely like au fait with like the ways of making an album
That's
flow.
the thing. So you need to be an album person to appreciate Kid A.
And why Tree
And
Fingers is
Tree
placed where it
Fingers,
is.
Yeah, is like an integral part of the whole story of the album. So you can't Radiohead don't produce albums to let's make chart hits. They clearly don't.
No, absolutely
They're
not.
clearly rallying against that. whole thing.
After Creep, that was it.
Yeah, well, I don't even know if they wanted Creep, to be honest.
Then they knew for definite.
But yeah, they're like, no, definitely never ever. So they've always been album people, and you have to listen to this the whole way through with earphones in, max volume in your bed or something. You do, and
Yeah.
like that's part of it. And Tree Fingers is an important part of building the album.
Yeah.
It comes after, like we said, one of the lowest lows that I've ever heard in How to Disappear, which is, such a dreary like drag on you. Yeah, it is. It's
like
heart-wrenching.
like a punch to the gut.
But like
sound.
it's still beautiful in what it is. Like,
it is,
as Radiohead always do.
Yeah,
they tend to make things that are just strikingly, I don't know, like beautiful and dreary.
And speaking of strikingly beautiful, Tree Fingers. As I listen to it more and more, I realise that this song is beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
As much as it only shifts through a few notes or a few different instruments, and it loops after a while.
So that's the thing. It loops and it has only a few different like things that it strikes.
Yeah, no drums, no vocals, no guitar or anything. It's just all electronics, and it's very, very calming and very soothing. And in a way, at first, it feels like kind of like the sound of you being in this massive like emotional abyss because of how to disappear.
Tiny bit meditative.
It's very, very meditative, and
gives you
like
space
as it moves on, as the kind of drone loop repeats. It ends up starting to like lift you out of it almost.
Yeah, there's like dropped in like sci-fi sound, UFO sounds and like weird background things that sort of fill in the space, and it's very important to the whole album. And we always refer to songs that are like this.
Yeah, the
that are interludes, but important for the album's flow and for you to carry your emotions onto the next bit.
Yeah. So that's the Tree Fingers effect.
That's the Tree Fingers effect.
Glad we got that off our chest. Now, what I was saying about it kind of lifting you out of that abyss as you get towards the end of it and it just fading out slowly is that the 6th track, Optimistic.
Ooh. Yes.
Here we go.
Sam's a big fan of Optimistic.
Very big fan. I think we're all big fans.
Well, I'm all big fans of the whole album, the whole way through. It's a perfect album in my opinion. But
it's up there as like one of the best Radiohead songs. Just like,
Optimistic is great.
Like the mantra.
There's a return to guitars a little bit on this.
Yes,
one.
Definitely. This is like the one other track that I think is a definite kind of rock.
Yeah, and it
song.
delivers it to the fans sort of after a while.
Just felt like it's just nice to like bring you out of this whole like slump that you've had after like the sort of how to disappear and then Tree Fingers.
You hear the mantra that Tom chants throughout the song, and the best you can is good enough.
Yeah.
And
exactly. This one's optimistic. This song is optimistic.
This one went to market.
Yeah.
This one just came out of the swamp.
I want to sing the whole song now.
Of course you do.
Yeah, and again, so guitars are very good on this track. They pull you like along with this momentum.
The drumming as well.
I was going to say
it's sparse, but it's so.
I think Phil actually arranged this song. I think this was his one mostly.
He did something.
Yeah, he did a thing.
Phil,
I believe anyway. So the drumming on this song is very, very good. And like with the dinosaurs roaming the earth, it very much feels like that. It's like
it feels quite tribal in a way.
Yeah, it's very tribal, and it brings you along with that. And there's a few political things thrown in, like living on Animal Farm.
Animal Farm,
like
I was going to say.
And that's what develops the album onto its next track, which is Idiotech.
In Limbo.
It's in Limbo, is it?
In Limbo.
Oh yeah, you're right. My bad.
It's in Limbo.
Yeah.
So
I forgot. This transition is very perfect, actually. I always forget it's a transition because
you can barely tell it. Like it feels abrupt, but in a way, it somehow feels like it could well have been like one song to me. There's no like common instrumentation that that segues between the two tracks nicely, but it doesn't feel like it's a new song almost. But you hear the do 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 the synth intro, and then all of a sudden, out of that, you then hear this rush of all instrumentation. Yeah, Tom's vocals, the bass guitar, the lead guitar and the drumming, they all come in very, very quickly. I mean, and it's trippy as hell. This song.
It's really trippy. This one took me maybe the most time to get into it, the whole album.
I think so as well.
Because this has got maybe the most jazz influence on it. Maybe.
It feels smooth, I guess, and very psychedelic.
I do really love the ending where the instrumentation creates like a whooshing, like around
like a really electronic
really
buzzing.
Does flow like along, like build up, and the lyrical theme on this is sort of a carryover a little bit from How to Disappear, and
a little
being
bit,
stuck in limbo, but it's more like I'm past that sort of thing. I'm
trying to get back
stuck in this. Sounds
in purgatory,
in limbo,
almost.
in purgatory. So it's well placed.
It's fantastic.
It's a very good song.
It really is.
Yeah.
What was the lyrics? Something like, "I'm lost at sea. Don't bother me.
Don't bother me.
I've lost my way, etc., etc.,
Yeah,
etc.
exactly.
Like, oh, poor Tom.
Poor Tom. Yeah. So that one took me the most time to get into.
But
But
like you say,
right?
the weird electronic kind of warping that you hear at the
Yeah,
end
there's
of
a
the
lot
song.
of warping.
It then just fades out, and then
Yep.
you hear that first drum beat of Idiotech. My God, like who came up with this drum beat?
I have no idea, but
Who?
it's amazing.
This is where I
Who
think
came up with this whole flipping song?
this is where I think of like
Idiotech is insane.
like say with the electronic influence
a
of
lot. Yeah.
Aphex Twin, probably Autechre and Bozo
I-
Canada and all sorts of other like IDM stuff.
Yeah.
Throughout this song, it's like it's not like a drum beat that you're meant to be able to like dance to or find catchy because it's so off kilter.
Yeah, it's very
But
off-kilter.
it's like it's genius.
I love it.
I love it so goddamn much.
Idiotech may very well be my favourite song ever. It's up
Really?
there for me.
I
yeah.
don't blame you.
And a lot.
We gonna hear it live.
Oh, I know. I so hope we do. Oh God.
Hope you
They've
don't.
been adding like a synth like layer to it recently.
Really
that
hope
makes it
you
really
don't
dark.
see it live.
Oh, I want to. Oh, Tom, please.
we're gonna freak out.
Notice me, senpai. I'm gonna go mad if he does, and if he does the dancing as well, this crazy flappy arm dancing. Good lad.
You better.
So yeah, Idiotech is just a lot of people have voted it one of the best songs of early 2000s, and
I mean, it's god tier.
it's very important.
It's god tier.
It's exactly. This is the one that carries a lot of the climate change
Yes,
message.
Ice Age coming.
This is really happening.
Yeah,
like, that's
we're not
some of the lyrics.
scaremongering.
We're not scaremongering. This is really happening. Like
Yeah.
it's very blunt. It's in the messages, but like again, things are like filtered up the lyrics and like who's in the bunker, women and children first, and the children first, and the children.
Ice Age coming.
I just love this.
Brilliant.
Song. And like the whole time, like the electronics are going faster and faster, Johnny. It's just so good.
Johnny.
Exactly, and like
There's just something about it which is
amazing.
I actually really like playing it at Praise. I don't know.
It's like it's
No,
actually
it goes
like
on at
good
Praise.
to dance to.
It-
I think it works. I don't know what
I can boogie down.
Yeah,
to it.
exactly.
I definitely can.
Which is saying something for a Radiohead song, which is great. And I really love Idiotech, and this took me a little while to get into actually. I don't know why, but then it totally struck me. And
Yeah,
it still does.
Absolutely.
Every song this flipping album does. It's insane.
So then we have the two closing tracks.
Yeah, so Idiotech transitions quite well into Morning Bell, actually. I really like the transition, which is the second to last track. I really like Morning Bell. They reprised it in the next album.
They did.
With a different version of it. I like both. I prefer this version.
Yeah, me too.
I've seen a lot of good live videos for this. When he plays it live, it's really good. And the way Tom's vocals come in on this track are really quite a favourite of mine.
No, they feel almost the most intimate vocals on the track because he's singing about some stuff which feels like kind of almost the breakdown of a relationship.
Yeah,
right?
it is relationship.
He's singing about where'd you park the car? Almost like it's like this deck line. Where'd you park the car? Or whatever. I'm just trying to remember exactly what the other lyrics are.
There's cut the kids in half.
Cut the kids in half. Yeah,
That's pretty. Well, I mean, that's like divorce.
That's like
based,
Death Grips
I can
level.
imagine. I think it's divorce.
Cut you in half.
But it's violent for the sake of it.
There's also Shark Tales, an underrated classic. That's probably my favourite.
I do like that lyric. The way he delivers it.
Yeah, Tom knows what he's talking about.
He does. He's a good lad.
Shut
Shut
tail.
So, yeah, that whole track is great. Like, continues the sort of like. I don't know. There's like a mental progression that you go through with this album where it like drags you in so like strongly.
It's so convincing.
Throws you through with so much momentum, and then stops you dead with how to disappear, and then picks you up again with optimistic, and then like you
Lets
begin
you
to
down
become
again, basically.
Yeah, well, exactly. But
Idiotech's almost like the high. That's what like the sound of the album feels like to me.
Yeah,
Even though the subject matter is completely the opposite, but then
yeah,
like you say,
well,
Morning Bell,
as Radiohead do.
it goes down slightly, and then you get the closing track.
Oh my god! So
Motion picture
soundtrack. This has slowly become one of my favourites as well. Like, it's another one of the Radiohead tracks that you could say this is like, I don't know, just I have no idea how humans could make it. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like insanely good. the instrumentation is warm. I think this is quite an old track. I think they reprised it from a long time ago. Yeah, it's very strong.
You have organs being weird.
Yeah, they're really rich organs, aren't they? Yeah.
And it's just that and Tom's voice for the start of the track where he's singing
And
about
this
stuff
is
like
relationship based.
yeah, it's talking about like sleeping pills and sad films and cheap sex or whatever.
Cheap sex and sad films get me back to where I belong.
Yeah, it's all very damning and
not like the movies. Exactly. Yeah.
Come on,
get him back where he belongs.
But like this, I don't know. By this point in the album, this track is placed, obviously at the end. It's such a perfect closer.
It is. It's one of the best
like
closers I've ever heard.
Organs. Yeah, like it progresses for a long time.
You get the strings coming in.
The strings come in. Yeah, I was gonna say
very beautiful. They're like harps and
harp. I think there's a prominent-ish harp on it, which is quite warm.
Yeah, playing like the descending up as like.
Yeah, and then it sort of like goes into silence. It just sort of gently fades itself out into a
2 minutes
silence.
of silence.
Yeah, and I shit you not. I'm gonna use the phrase "shit you not" to explain it. This is like the richest silence I've ever heard on an album, which is, I've reached the full heights of like pretentious when I can say that.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Genuinely, if you listen to the track, this annoys me. What iTunes did recently is they separated out. They separated out the actual instrumentation
silence.
and warm.
They basically
from the silence.
They took Motion Picture Soundtrack, which is 7 minutes long originally.
Yeah.
They put the kind of 3 odd minutes of Tom the instrumentation as one track called Motion Picture Soundtrack. They then removed the 2 minute silence and then created an 11th track called Untitled, which features the eventual rush of like harps and
I was going to say there's a reprise. There's like a
noise. I don't even know how to describe it. It's so beautiful.
Neither do I. The way it genuinely is a rush. It rushes back and it's like a recollection of the whole soundscape. It like just comes towards you, at you, like
it almost brings you back to reality in a way.
It does, yeah, it does. And like I said, the thing that makes me love this album is if you've like listened to it all in one go, when you get to the silence, there's no boredom there at all, like you would expect from a 2 minute silence.
Yeah,
there's none. You're just sat there like in awe of the album and
then
the whole soundscape they've created.
You get that rush of noise again.
Yeah, and then you get the rush of noise, and then the album's over, and you just sat there like.
And then there's a bit more silence.
Holy shit! Yeah. Oh yeah.
Whoa.
I know. It's like one of the most amazing moments.
It is. Like
just ever.
And the reason that obviously we're so annoyed at Apple for doing this fucking track chopping thing is that
it promotes,
getting rid of that silence, it completely ruins the ending.
Yeah, it promotes people to just cut the ending up, but whatever. Up to them.
You buy the CD, you get the proper version.
Yeah, I agree. You listen to it all forever.
And it's much, much better.
Shout out to very good uses of that track on Westworld. They used Motion Picture Soundtrack very well.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
I need to watch the rest of that.
I think it's on the next episode you're about to watch, maybe. There's a moment with one of the androids. It's very good. She's realising things, and this is playing, and it's jaw-dropping, as ever.
Ooh, can't wait, dude.
So, yeah, but, I mean, ignoring all the things that this has been used for, because Kid A has actually been very influential, as is Radiohead's tendency. This album... every time I listen to it, my jaw is dropped at the end.
Still my favourite album ever.
Yeah, my favourite album ever. I'll stick with that. Like I said, I'm in different moods sometimes, but like on the whole, this is very important to me and very, like, just one of the best things, one of the best whole albums I've listened to. Like the way it drags you in and puts you in totally different,
spins you around and then
world, spins you around, spins you out. Yeah, exactly. So it's just amazing. Go listen to it. A round of applause.
Well done, Tom. Well done, Colin, Jenny, Ed,
they did a good
Phil
job
as well.
And I felt like it was very good for them, this album. They were doing just what they wanted to do. There's artistic integrity upheld.
You've got to respect them for what they do.
And beyond just artistic integrity, it's more just whatever comes naturally they do do from this point on.
I mean, it like set a precedent for Radiohead as well. It's like not like every album is going to be different. To the previous one.
Yeah, it's true.
Which is what is so exciting about when Radiohead
announce
more music
when they suddenly send their website.
As we found out last year.
What we got here.
Exactly.
we gonna hear is damn good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Classic album.
a classic. Exactly.
It's in my top 20.
That's, well, like you said, it's my
I
top
definitely
one.
need to
In my
listen
top
to
one.
it more, but I can see myself in the
very
future.
extremely
I
rewarding.
consider
KLS.
I genuinely consider the move from OK Computer to Kid A the most monumental step in like music between two things. You know what I mean? Ever.
I'm sure there's some stuff that's probably quite monumental as well that we haven't listened to yet.
I know.
There's lots of music out there.
The thing that but from what I've been
From what you've
exposed to,
heard,
and I'm sure a lot of people agree.
Yeah.
Like the change is
I think
Very
the
important.
most remarkable thing about this this sound change is just how willing all of the Radiohead fans were willing to go along with it. Because you'd think if you're changing up your genre and your style so much that
Pitchfork made a living off of
of Kid A's review.
yeah, Kid A's review. When everyone else was like everyone was
I've never seen a shooting star.
yeah, that's the way it starts.
Oh God.
Got Pitchfork up and running.
I mean, they gave both albums 10s, didn't they?
yeah, deservedly so.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion. Yeah. So, but yeah, I lost for words.
Go listen to Kid A.
Listen to Kid
now.
A. There's just whatever situation you're in, it doesn't matter. It just fades it out
Definitely.
and is intense.
All right,
So-
now that that's over, we might actually have a tiny bit of time to talk about something else.
Yes. Should we? Do we have time?
I mean, we
Bloody hell.
don't worry. We started like doing the actual thing a little bit later.
Little bit.
There's a bit of an indent. It's fine,
Okay.
but
could save it. Maybe
we could
not.
do. But I think it
The
needs
story
to-
naturally
I'm in the
continues.
mood for it
I
now.
don't
So-
know. I feel like we should save it mostly because I want to listen to it more so I can actually talk about it.
Okay, could do. But I think we should do it.
Why we gotta make the events now? Come on, Mike. Let's
So,
go.
We'll do it, and then you can agree with our stuff post podcast. We won't spoil it. Trust.
Fourth wall
You,
gone.
you
Fourth
guys
vote.
could talk about it. I'm gonna go for a week. I actually haven't listened to sounds.
Let's go.
I listened to it like once.
Fair.
Let's go.
The
Mike.
reason it has to
Bye,
happen.
guys.
Bye, Sam.
Bye, Sam.
Have fun listening to the rest of the podcast. I'm gonna have a shower.
You're gonna ruin the sound.
Oh
recording.
shit!
Oh shit! I'll make.
They said
want some more.
it's Mo hits.
Jesus Christ.
Fingers crossed. I won't play Death Grips too loud in the shower. Alright.
Better sing along. We'll record.
Bye, guys.
Get out of here.
Back off, can.
Anyway,
Alright.
the reason we've gone on without Sam, which is for the better, is because Kid A and Amnesiac make a natural grouping.
Amnesiac. So that it's
The same way I grouped all of the rock-based Radiohead albums.
yeah.
together
Kid
in
and
the last
Amnesiac feels like while it's only like a 2-album cycle almost. It,
Yeah,
it
they
feels
were
like
released one year
era.
apart, and they were recorded within most of the songs within the same massive bulk recording session.
Yes, definitely.
A lot of people consider Amnesiac B-sides for
Yeah.
Kid A.
That's still how I feel about it with some tracks, but
I can understand that. I mean, like the reprise of
Motion
Morning
Picture.
Bell.
Morning Bell. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I can see how people are like, oh, you should
If the reprise feels more kind of upbeat and joyous
yeah.
and slightly more fleshed out in terms of instrumentation, which
It does.
I appreciate that.
Varied wise. And like this album, the reason I say it's not B-sides is because one, there's some tracks on here that
Which are
hella
unbelievably
stand
good.
out. Yeah, they're like, I don't know how mortal men wrote this. Pyramid Song.
Pyramid Song.
Yeah, Pyramid Song. Jesus Christ, what a song! There's so many crazy theories about it. I'll get onto that.
Let's go on to it later.
So yeah, but the reason I say that maintain this is not B-sides as well is that I've read interviews and seen interviews where Tom says, well, the reason we separated them was because we did this big recording session, and obviously a lot of stuff was coming to him because now he's free to do more than what rock had like constrained him to before. He's doing things he wants, and this was very much more of the jazz stuff and more of the subdued electronics rather than full force, as in Kid A, perhaps. And yeah, there's like
You get the subdued electronics right from the off as well.
yes, you're right.
The first song, pack like
So Pack Like Sardines
in a crushed tin box.
In a crushed tin box.
Crushed tin
So the-
box.
The strange lyrics and lyrical content continues on Amnesiac.
He's a reasonable man.
Get off
Get
his
off
case.
his case. Get off his case.
I really like that song. It's a really
Yeah,
nice
I do.
opening. And like you like it's really tinny.
It is. You have like steel drum sounding stuff almost.
Yeah, and like, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum,
Boom. And then you get the really kind of the synths kind of sound like everything in its right place from Kid A.
They do.
Less icy.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
It has a similar effect.
Buzzy.
Everything in its right place.
No, yeah. I mean, look. The song's called "Packed Like Sardines in a Crushed Box." It's almost it's like claustrophobic in the title itself. And it feels like you're away from everything and very alone and
exactly. And it pulls you in and Amnesia at one point I maintained was my favourite for a really short amount of time because
you hadn't heard Kid A.
No, well I hadn't heard Kid A in a little while. No, this is one of the times where I flip flop between things.
Yeah, sure.
But it's like this album really unveils itself to you when you like give it time. It's one of those ones where, like I said, because a lot of the elements are really subdued.
It requires a lot of repeat listens. Definitely.
Yeah, it does. Especially because a lot of the lyrics and vocals and songs really throw you off. It's just one of those albums. Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
You should talk about Pyramid Song.
So let's talk about Pyramid Song. So this... I have no idea how they did one big recording session thing where for a few months where they managed to pull all of these
songs.
I know.
It's
like,
mind-blowing.
Where did they come from? So Pyramid Song is not made by humans. It can't be. Like, in the same way the pyramids can't be made by humans, they must have come from aliens. This Pyramid Song can't have been made by humans. It's based on, like, few basic... They're like really crazy time signatured piano chords.
So
there's a theory behind this.
There is. The theory is that the song is, or the phrases of the song are two bars of 3, a bar of 4, and then 2 bars of 3 again. Yeah. So 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3 plus 3, which equals 16, which is vaguely 4 bars of 4 or whatever. But the theory, which links into the title of the song, is that the 4 bars of 3 are meant to represent the 4 triangles that go around a square-based pyramid.
Yep.
Which has the square
so
base has 4 sides
of the size and put them in order as
and then
the
it makes a pyramid.
If you fold it all up, you get a pyramid.
Wait, I don't think that.
I don't think that's what they're going for.
No, I think it's.
But it's a crazy coincidence.
It is, yeah.
Like I said, like this music is insane.
It's just too good.
The time signatures are...
I don't know if it's the time signatures that make the song or it's just
I
the
know,
combination.
I know for a lot of... I've had people in my old school who were like, oh, listen to this track, it's got weird time signatures. I know that. So I like jumped into the conversation. So like that's what they sort of know it for.
Mm.
And it's like undeniably
but
crazy.
I just know it for like it being one of my favourite songs ever.
The lyrics are insanely good and insane. They're about being like, jumped in a river. What did I see? Black-eyed angels staring at me. Yeah, and it's about being on like. Okay, so a lot of the lyrical content in this album comes from Tom York. I think he went to a few like museum and like there's a sort of mythology to this album.
Mm-hmm.
So I've actually got the album, and on the album cover is a big red book with a little crying minotaur on it, and like you can have a few star signs and stuff.
And that book.
Yeah, so
is currently in Mike's hands.
So rather than actually getting the album as a little CD, little plastic thing, I actually got the book instead because you can get it as the book. And it's
got stuff
so
in it.
Glorious. It's got the little CD and like a little library fold thing on the inside cover. It comes from No Such Library at Catharsis College Library. Yeah, it's just stuff like that. And then
it's just a booklet of a lot of different pieces of artwork.
Yeah, and I mean they continue from Kid A, very, very scary and dreary.
Yeah, I mean, I think this piece of art here, which is like almost a mushroom cloud type thing. I think that was the single artwork for Pyramid Song, or it has been used for Pyramid Song at some point.
So. Have you seen the music video for that, by the way?
For Pyramid Song?
There's a music video.
I feel like I have, but I can't remember.
It's like a polygon man going scuba diving, and it's got the sort of weird, sketchy background, like as in this booklet.
I don't remember, honestly.
It's really cool, but to be honest, the song makes it, rather than the music video making the song, because the song is insane.
Yeah, it is.
Like
If
literally,
you don't cry at some point while you hear it, then
Yeah.
like the creators of the song, you are not human.
well, like this song is the reason why Radiohead are just as valid a religion as anything else. And I'm not even kidding, but I don't treat it as that. But you could treat this song as that. Literally, you could.
So if someone told you that the rest of your life you had to worship this song, like, would you?
Well, I've already been doing it, so it wouldn't be much of a change.
Without being able to worship anything else.
Oh, that annoy me.
Yeah, it would annoy me as well.
But
I think-
not the worst situation.
No, definitely not the worst.
Yeah, so again, this song is imagining it's like a death thing. You're imagining all the lovers you've been with over your whole life. You're on a ship with angels and flowing down this black river. It's
Going to heaven in a little rowing
little
boat.
rowboat. Yeah, it's very, like I said, like
There's
the whole-
nothing to fear, nothing to
Nothing
doubt.
to doubt,
That's
yeah.
the kind of mantra in the lyrics.
Yeah.
It's almost like, the inevitability of
exactly
of death.
but it doesn't matter. There's this is the whole part of the mythology and ethos of this album, which is what is fun to delve into. It's like, I don't know, like the appeal of it's like being an archaeologist. Like literally, I say, like
Yeah.
you just get stuck into these sorts of details, whereas Kid A is more immediate, more shocking, like.
Yeah, so
As it is.
if you're going from listening to Kid A to Amnesiac, you wouldn't feel like nearly as much of a difference
No.
as going from OK Computer to Kid A. Kid A and Amnesiac are definitely kind of sister albums in their feel and their
They are,
sound
yeah.
and the themes on them.
Yeah,
And I guess Pyramid Song, it almost feels like it almost feels analogous to How to Disappear Completely on Kid A, because
Yeah, it
not
does.
only are they insanely beautiful songs, both of them,
yeah.
but then afterwards you get
What you could call a tree fingers effect, almost. So this one, it's Pulk Pool Revolving Doors is the third track, which is a very controversial track, because what are the lyrics?
there are closing
There are
doors,
closed doors. There are
open doors.
There are revolving
Doors.
doors on the rudders of big ships, etc. There are trap doors. It just talking about doors. I mean, like, it's probably about opportunities in
Yeah.
life and things and such, but
It's so weird. The
it
whole
continues
sound.
the tinny sound of Pack Like Sardines.
Yeah.
It's just very weirdly, like his voice is manipulated very weirdly. Tom's
almost like it's kind of like how his voice is on the title track on Kid A, but it's a
Yeah,
little
it
more
is.
like his voice is breaking and
yeah.
a little bit, and it feels
supposed
more
to be
robotic almost.
indiscernible,
Yeah, it
effectively.
is almost indiscernible.
And it's part of the mythology. It's like this is why the big red book is the album cover, because it's like finding this in your attic and diving in a bit and having a look. And it's like, well, you're not going to understand everything, so you don't
Yeah.
understand this necessarily.
Yeah, exactly.
That continues later on with his lyrical things he does with his lyrics. Anyway, so the next song, You and Whose Army, took me a while to get into this. I'm really into this now because it's really, really smooth.
It is very smooth.
Ghost horses and the like. That's some of the lyrics. Not those specific lyrics, but yeah. He sings ghost horses and it's very sort of Roman, obviously, from the lyrics.
Oh yeah, You and Whose Army.
You and His Army, Holy Roman Empire. Yeah, it's very smooth. It's been used in quite a few movies because it's really smooth and central-ish in a weird way. I think it was used in what's it called? Children of Men. I think it was used in.
Oh, okay. I can see how it fit in, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of dystopian, almost
Dystopian
apocalyptic
things.
kind of setting.
Along
yeah.
with a very, very good visual, like shout out almost to Pink Floyd's Animals when he goes to meet that guy or something, and in the background's Battersea Power Station with a giant floating pig. That's really cool.
Very
That
nice.
makes me smile. Along with that continuous shot, that obviously makes me really smile.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's that film.
So, song after, I might be wrong.
This song's really good.
This song's got a quality riff on it.
Yeah, it does.
Dun, dun, dun,
And
dun, dun, dun,
the way it comes
Great
in
riff.
when it's the let's go down the waterfall.
It's almost you, like, diving into the album and its feelings.
Nothing at all. Yeah, it's it got this album also has a few like country-ish twinges to it in a weird
I
way.
see what you mean about the riff. Actually, it feels.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
And
of what
especially
band it reminds me
a
of
couple
now.
of songs after Dollars and Cents, and also and Hunting Bears.
Hunting Bears, yeah.
Hunting Bears is that's a Tree Fingers Effect interlude.
Yeah,
It's not so much a Tree Fingers Effect because it doesn't come after something so punchy.
No, and it is like written like a song rather than a kind of a drony thing. It's not my favourite track, I have to say.
No, I don't.
It's probably my pick for the weakest, but I mean...
Yeah, I agree.
If it's technically a B-side that, didn't make it onto Kid A or whatever, then I guess it has a place here.
It has a place, that's fair. I know, I do agree, it's one of the ones that makes you think, oh, this is maybe a B-side.
Yeah.
It's like they were playing around with Tree Fingers like things, here's what they came up with. Shout out to Knives Out as well. Knives out, catch the man. With like very dark lyrics about, and I suppose like weird cannibalism and catching mice and eating them and cutting things, knives out, literally. Very cool music video actually, which harkened back to their MTV music videos where they made lots of crazy things happen and they were like a band just in the middle of crazy things. So in this one they're in a hospital and it's like a weird Operation the game, and it's like spinning around and stuff.
Nice.
So it's like that. This to me, Knives Out feels like sort of in the way that Radiohead do songs a precursor to the next album, House of Thief, which we'll talk about at some point in the future.
Certainly.
Appropriate timing with Trump. So it's sort of like like Radiohead are finding a groove here. It's like Kid A was. They're finally free to do things that they want to, and God knows how they like pulled that off. And a year later,
I feel like
Pyramid
definitely some of the songs on Amnesiac, like you say, it's them kind of finding their feet in exactly what they want to do.
So and the way Tom's actually described these two albums, because Radiohead are aware that they're sister albums, they come from the same recording session.
Yeah.
When asked about it, he says, Kid A is like the immediate expression, and Amnesiac is the explanation. Is how he says it.
Yeah.
And that's how he said he split the songs up when deciding what should go on what and what to work on. And it does feel like that. This is more subdued. They're less in a panic. There's no panic moments like there is on Kid A with National Anthem and How to Disappear. This is more myth. The whole mythology's there. There's like like I said before, the groove. They've struck a groove with all the genres that they're involving.
And I'd say definitely the track after which is the reprise of Morning Bell from Kid A. Morning Bell / Amnesiac.
Yeah.
It feels to me like almost a version of the song that they probably would have been ready to put on Kid A, but it didn't quite fit the mood of it. Because like I said before, the sound is more upbeat, the orchestration's more expansive and a bit more blown out, and it sounds a lot more joyous, and you have like very strong strummed guitar chords.
Yeah.
You have pretty much the same lyrics and the same vocals and everything, but it just casts a completely different mood over the lyrics in the song, because of course the one on Kid A is very kind of muted electronics.
Yeah, it is, and it's like reliant on the drums coming through and muted electronics, whereas this is full force. Yeah. And with orchestration and all the different genres they pulled together.
Yeah, because I still like this version, just not quite as much.
I agree, not quite as much. I'm going to give a massive shout out. So we've done Hunting Bears a little bit. It's there. It is genuinely an interlude track.
I treat it like
rather than a Tree Fingers Effect, it's more of an interlude track, I'd say. Shout out to Like Spinning Plates. This became a massive favourite of mine when I heard him play it live. And the problem that everyone has with this track is Tom York recorded his lyrics and they play them backwards on the track. So they're indiscernible because they're backwards. They're political lyrics about spinning plates, obviously, as the title would suggest, and I can't remember what it is. There's lyrics that come up on a B-side that are the same lyrics, called Cut Tooth on this album. It's very good. By the way, a shout out to every single Radiohead B-side. They're high quality as well.
They're better than most artists, like A-sides.
I agree.
If you want to call them that.
A B-side for Kid A was True Love Waits when they played it live, because the Kid A B-sides on like the deluxe edition has live versions of the songs, which are very good. They're very well done.
True Love Waits in particular.
And then True Love Waits is particularly strong.
Which, of course, made
it made a return, but it's changed. It's different, because Tom's different, the whole situation's different. We'll talk about that. Like Spinning Plates, when he plays it live, he just reduced his piano on the deluxe version of this, and him singing it. and it's very politically spiteful. It's very powerful. It's like almost a tiny bit like In the Shadow of a Pyramid song, like not as beautiful and as transcendent-ish. I can genuinely use that word.
Yeah, you can. Fine. This is one of those moments. Fine.
Yeah, exactly. Like Spinning Plates is like in the shadow of that. It's the version they did on the album is the piano has been replaced by glitchy electronics, which I really love. They're sampled slightly backwards as well. I know where this song comes from as well. I remember now. The song I Will on the next album, Hail to the Thief, because Radiohead obviously always throwing out songs around. It's like a melding pot of producing songs. They actually played a bit of it backwards. They were producing a demo for I Will, and I think it was Johnny who was playing around with it. Either Johnny or Ed, one of the two. And he played it backwards, and Tom heard it and really liked the groove of it and stuff. And they went with the whole thing. And I really love like Spinning Plates. It genuinely stands out to me. And that's what threw me back into really loving Amnesiac as my favourite, actually. So
it was that and Pyramid Song.
I mean, Pyramid Song has always been like top tier Radiohead because it's top tier music that any human has ever produced ever. Like, I don't exaggerate in my opinion of that.
Not at all.
So yeah, and then finally, Life in a Glass House, which was the only song on this album recorded after that bulk recording session, and this is expanded, like exploration of the jazz and doing orchestral arrangements and doing things like that. Which Johnny is very good at doing.
Oh, he's very good. He's very versatile, isn't he?
He's a versatile lad. He's scoring the new Paul Thomas Anderson film.
Is.
They're good buds, and boy, do I love that good relationship Radiohead and Paul Thomas Anderson have. Oh, is it fruitful? So yeah. Anyway, yeah, Life in a Glass House. I like Life in a Glass House. Not one of my favourites because not super into the genre. As in, like, at full force.
It'll let you say, because it's like where the jazz influence is, is the most overt on the album. And the fact it's on the end of the album, you could probably say...
It's almost like...
You can almost tell that it was recorded
exactly.
outside of the sessions for the rest, but...
Yeah.
I mean,
it's high quality. It's really good, as usual.
Yeah.
But there's something about it that never quite fit with the rest of the album.
Yeah.
Like, it's not quite as subdued as the rest. It's overtly political. I mean, it's like the perfect... If they'd have released an EP between this and Hail to the Thief and this was leading on the EP,
yeah,
that would make perfect sense.
Oh, yeah, it's a little mood change.
It's dead in the middle. It's very political, like throwing stones in a glass house. It's an indicator of where they're going. It's all of these things.
And then Hail to the Thief comes along.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Which we'll talk about in the future episode.
Of course.
But, yeah, I mean, this is part of the whole Radiohead story. Like, you come in from one angle at an album, and then it sends you off at the next one, and Radiohead go there, and it's always
what they do.
It is what they do. But yeah, so on the whole, I really love Amnesiac. I'd say it's probably a fan favourite sort of thing that you get into after you appreciate the first gut punch of Kid A.
We love that phrase now, don't we?
Yeah, that's since the episode when we said.
Since the Mountain Goats.
I suppose it's less of a gut punch because it's not like lyrics have moments that turn you. It's more
it's
of
the whole thing slowly just turning you into an emotional state.
Yeah, it is slower. Yeah, exactly. It's like a scared sort of shock at what the world's becoming.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Yeah, but on the whole, these two albums, what a fruitful period for Radiohead to just suddenly free themselves up from restraint of what they considered something that was dying for them, not working.
Yeah, and again for a period of their career which was so highly praised and appreciated. I repeat what I said at the start. Like after OK Computer, pretty much no one saw this coming at all.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And the fact that it worked so well is as much of a mystery as how they managed to write such good music.
Yeah, I feel like Tom's particularly proud of how he came through, like following the almost breakdown of OK Computer.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you could be genuinely proud of, like, whole, like, force over, like, like, with all their might, overcoming the issues that they faced.
Yeah.
And producing, again, like, with Kid A, one of the most monumental, standout corner pieces of, recent rock history, musical history and stuff.
Yeah.
And with Amnesiac, producing something that's a fan favourite, that's very
Yeah, I think a hardcore fan
Continue.
favourite, definitely.
Hardcore fan favourite.
I
It's
think
in my it's often in my top 4 sort of ones, which is hard to say now that Moonshaped Pool's come out.
yeah.
So it's
top 5 then.
5,
There you go.
Yeah, but they all move around. They'll
course
fluid
they
for me.
do.
I just love Radiohead. Just listen to
general.
all Radiohead. Probably listen to them in the order we've covered them in the podcast, which is chronological order.
Absolutely.
So yeah. The reason I love saying listen to them in chronological order is
'Cause of the
the
story.
complete continental shift from OK Computer to Kid A, and
whole-
the story that
Even listening
continues
to
thereafter.
Pablo Honey and getting all the way through that, just for the shift from OK Computer to Kid A is worth it.
I recommend skipping Pablo Honey. Listen to Creep, and then that's the context for Ben's.
Then go to the Bends.
But
Alright. Good.
my God, I love both of these albums, and Kid A is my favourite, the most important album of all time to me.
Good.
It introduced me to so many genres of music. Introduced me to
I'd have to agree.
good albums, like what to look for in albums, what to like notice is pushing boundaries, and what is stale and stuff like that. I don't know. These are just feelings rather than just like whatever. Kid A threw me on this. The reason I'm doing a podcast now is because of Kid A, basically. So for better or worse, listen to this album.
It'll be for better.
And fan music when you're a long-time fan of Radiohead.
Definitely.
Oh, I can't wait to see them live. That's all.
Fuck off.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh well. Well, you know what?
Yep.
I know you'll probably find out about it, but if Bjork ever announces a gig, I will buy tickets and not tell you about it.
Fine.
And I'll go on my own.
I think you're dangerous if you go on your own to a Bjork gig. You'll just like assault her.
I won't assault
No, you
her.
wouldn't.
I don't want to do that. She doesn't deserve that.
No, she doesn't. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. Good.
I hope Bjork tours. I hope Bjork and Tom
Well,
York.
she's meant to be releasing an album this year, isn't
I
she?
can't wait.
So hyped.
I genuinely thought her last album was
Up there with her
her
best. Yeah.
It's a great return to form. Radiohead never really lost their form other than Held to the Feet for a tiny bit. King of Limbs is transitional. Oh, you are right though, because there is a large time gap.
Yeah, but
That's the continued story.
we'll
anyway.
give him a pass because Bjork fucked up as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think Bjork fucked up more in my opinion, but
Yeah.
recovered very strongly. So
Yeah.
it's all good in the music world. It's all
as
good
long
in
as the music world just contains Radiohead and Bjork, which it may as well.
For me, it may as well for what I listen to.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's been an episode.
That's that.
We
So
ditched Sam halfway through.
next episode we got a doozy for you. Next episode we're going to be doing
A doozy?
a bit of a classic. Next episode.
Yep.
We're going to be going back to the standard new album,
Standard
classic
format.
album thing.
No Mike rambling about Radiohead for too long.
Well, I mean, it's probably going to creep in, isn't it? We're going to creep in.
I like the pun.
That was completely unintentional.
I noticed that you didn't mean that, and then you picked up on it.
So, next week we are going to be talking about one of my absolute favourite albums ever.
I haven't listened to it. I mean to.
Is Spiderland by Slint, who were a band that started off in the late 80s, and after an album in 1989 and this album Spiderland in 1991 basically just stopped existing. But for how short their career was, Spiderland is still stands as one of the most influential underground rock albums of absolutely ever.
Yeah.
It almost
I heard they made waves with very few albums. That's what I heard.
absolutely. I mean, they more or less contributed to the invention of post rock with the very kind of cleanly tuned guitars and crescendos and climaxes and all of that. And it's just a fantastic display of songwriting. And they wrote this album when they were our age.
Damn.
It's
What am I doing?
It's incredible. What are we doing? We're talking about how people can write albums at our age and how they're better than us. And then for a new album, we have a suggestion from you, sir.
This is my suggestion because it's a personal favourite that I always just come back to because I really enjoy it. That would be the latest Chemical Brothers album,
Born in the Echoes.
Born in the Echoes. I just really love Chemical Brothers, and this
Yes,
is a
you
good
do,
one. This is
son.
a good album. It's a good modern Chemical Brothers. So yeah, I think Sam enjoys it too. It'll be a good time.
It will. Fun. At least we're not doing Pink season yet.
Soon.
Yo.
I'm guilty. I did it. Well, that will come in a future episode, guaranteed.
That will. Alright. So, talk to you next week, people. Hope you've enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
And
from Sam, we say bye-bye.
bye-bye.
And also from me, I say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Auf Wiedersehen, mein Freund.